Whoop, whoop. Oh my gosh, my dog is literally chasing a squirrel up a tree. Careful! You're crazy. I'm kind of like today, not really, but in the sense of like trying to stay positive while dating. And it's funny that I just made that video yesterday about dating, but it's not even like, here, let me tell you what I'm feeling. What I'm feeling is hot. It's hot here in South Carolina, but two is that people just, it's not even just men. Right now I'm focused on healing the things men have said to me, because it just hurts sometimes, but it's also just people in general, and I've dealt with it for a long time. For example, someone who will say, oh my God, you're so skinny. And I'm like, how do you think that makes me feel? That's like me being like, oh my God, you're so black, or you're so fat, or like, you don't know what I've gone through. I don't know why people say things like those, like that. I guess I just would never say something like that. I don't know. And so the conclusion that I've come to is that people are simply, one, unaware, and two, don't really understand that if you can't say something in a nice way, you probably shouldn't say it. What good does it do for someone to say, oh, you're really skinny? What am I supposed to say to that? Thanks, I know. And then people will be like, do you even eat? I'm like, what if I had an eating disorder? How triggering that could be for me. And so another example is my dad is always like, you know, I think you look better with a few extra pounds on. But what he doesn't understand, and what he hasn't tried to understand, is that I've had a junk food problem and an alcohol addiction. And the reason why I will have extra pounds on me is because that's what I'm participating in, and it's not healthy. And then when I'm really skinny, everybody's like, are you okay? But I'm eating really clean. I'm not drinking. I'm focusing on fitness. I'm feeling really good. And right now I think I look perfect. I am not overdoing it in the gym, because I did have a little bit of a gym obsession and thought, you know, I have to look skinny. But now I just do very light, easy workouts. My eating has been a little off, but anyways, it's just, I don't think people understand. And when I try to help them understand, if they don't seem interested, I have now just nixed that relationship. And so I was hanging out with a friend, and I was like, look, you know, I don't go out all the time. I don't want to go out drinking all the time. It's not something I can be around, and I don't think you're a bad person for doing it, but I want friends who are encompassing a healthy lifestyle, health, wealth, good friends, good stuff, and not being drunk all the time and being in the club all the time. And again, to each their own. I'm not judging you whatsoever. It's simply not what I want to be around. And this other guy that I'm really, really into, it's like every time I chat with him, he makes me feel so just like, like guys for so long have just made me feel like an item. Like my body is the only thing they care about. Him saying, you know, come over and give me this, and yeah, I'll hang out with you Friday if you wear this. And I try to understand that maybe that's his way of flirting. Maybe that's his way of like, I don't know. But when I asked that the other day, and when I told him that I didn't like that, and he goes and does it again, that for me is someone who doesn't care. They are probably not going to sit and try and understand why those things trigger me and why those things hurt me. And I think as a human race, we really need to understand, like, wait, why are you upset? I didn't mean to offend you. I'm so sorry. It's okay to apologize. It's okay to make a mistake. I've done it before, and I'll sit there and I'll be like, I'm so sorry I said that. I didn't mean for it to come that way. Like, sometimes I'll be chatting with them and I'll say a joke and I'll be like, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. I didn't mean to do that. And it's really hard for people to do that. It's also really hard for people to understand that we have all been through something. Oh, we've all been through something. And this other guy that I dated like a few months ago, I remember there were just so many things that he was always saying, but this one really stuck with me. I went to a Hangout Fest in Alabama, and I came home and I had braids on, and he said something, and I was like, oh my God, you must be so excited to see me. He was like, yeah, I am, but I'd be more excited if you had those braids in. And again, it is, I don't think men are really good at flirting anymore. And I think a lot of guys, I mean, I grew up with guys, and I think their way of, like, it's almost like being a bully, they think like women like that. And I don't like that. I used to think it was fun to like make fun of each other, bullshit each other, talk shit about each other, but I don't like that anymore. And I think in the back of our head, nobody likes that. And another thing that this guy that I'm seeing now, I remember when we first started talking, he was like, yeah, I saw your picture on Bumble, and I really didn't even think one of those pictures you had was attractive. And I said something like that to him the other day, and he was like, oh, blah, 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 blah. So seriously, people are just so unaware. And that is really why I started posting on YouTube, and why I'm really working hard to create this coaching program and just really start getting this out there, because I want people to practice emotional and self-awareness. It is a game changer. And if we don't all start becoming emotionally aware and self-aware, we're not going to make any progress. We have all been through something. We're all allowed to feel our emotions. We're all allowed to safely share, like, hey, please don't say that again, it actually makes me feel like shit. Or you know, anything like that. Because it's although you might not have meant it that way, people perceive and take things differently, and you just never know. And even this was funny, I went out with a guy on July 4th to watch some fireworks with his friends, and he kept using the word retarded. And if you know me, if you go through my history, I've worked with people who have disabilities for forever, and that is just like a word that I don't like. I don't think any word, stupid, silly, I always say silly goose. You just shouldn't use those words, because it can be very hurtful to people, especially the word retarded. Well, sure enough, we pull out of that party, and he's taking me home, and there's 3 people with disabilities on the corner. And I look at him and I'm like, see, that's why you need to be careful what you say. Words are powerful. Words are so powerful. Even if you're calling yourself a retard, you're now telling your subconscious, and your subconscious is believing that you're retarded, stupid, whatever you call it. And everybody's like, I'm not using it in that way. I'm not using it in a derogatory way. You okay? Don't eat the grass. But how crazy was that we pull up and there's 3 people with disabilities? So the bottom line and the moral of this story is, please be careful what you say, and be nice to people. Be nice to people. Sometimes, you know, if you don't like the outfit, or you don't like my body, maybe don't say that. You know, I don't even know anymore what's happening and why this is reoccurring in my life, especially with men. And I'm wondering if it's because I'm allowing it, and because I'm like, oh, maybe they don't mean it, maybe they don't mean it. But for me, it's just like, I want to see actions, because I'm such a nice person. I am so caring to people, and I would never say like, ugh, don't like that picture, or I don't know. I just miss old romance. I really only had old romance once in my life, and I know it exists. It's just really hard to find, and especially in Charleston. They literally just started a Charleston dating scene group, and I'm like, here we go. But anyways, use your words wisely, and surround yourself with people who will, yes, be honest with you, but respectfully be honest, and be open to who you are in here and on the outside. So, love y'all. See you in the next video.